Hello everyone and welcome back to another afternoon sketching. Hopefully you guys are all settled down, nice and cozy. We've got a cup of tea, which if you saw yesterday's, I am going to try and not use it as a paint pot water holder. My paintbrush will hopefully stay out of my tea this time. So we are doing another pumpkin sketch. That's what we're doing at the moment. So we have, how many have we got now? I've lost count. 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so far. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm just going to show you guys the reference photo we're working from today. See if I can get it up. There it is. Oh, no. There it is, right. So, there is the reference photo I'm going to be using today, and we're going to focus in specifically on this trio and the candles. So ignore the leaves and ignore the white candles in the front, but this beautiful dark wood, the dark amber coloured candles, and then these 3 pumpkins or squashes, whatever they're called. This one's really interesting shape. It's almost like kind of pyramid shape, so it's going to be really interesting to get that down. If you guys are finding the music too loud, please let me know. I'm probably going to turn it down slightly. It's just one of the autumn soundtracks at the moment to keep everybody interested. And it's also nice because it's quite relaxing as well. I have forgot what I was doing. That's what I was doing. So let's get ourselves a new page. Go to the music and turn it down slightly. Come here, music. There we go. Right. Hopefully that's a little better. I really like this tune. It's just on repeat, but it's a really beautiful tune from Epidemic. So I am going to resize this image a minute so I've got just the bit I want, like that. And we are going to give ourselves a nice fresh page. So we've got a nice double spread page there to work on. This is a handmade sketchbook, for those of you that don't know, made for me by a friend, and it is full of the Canson May 10 pastel paper. So it's an ingress pastel paper, so it's not sanded, but it takes gouache really well, so it's quite useful. Right, I'm going to do that clip. I'm going to clip this page down just in the bottom corner, just because otherwise it is going to keep popping up, just because we're chugging our way through this sketchbook quite quickly at the moment. It's so hard to believe we're on the 24th of September already, and it's going to be October shortly, like in a week. And I need to get on with sorting out my supplies and stuff for Inktober. So I need to make sure I get that sorted. Bring on Inktober, it's going to be fun. I've got a few plans this year, and I think I'm going to try and live stream every session, so that's going to be good. Right, so we're going to start with just doing what I usually do, which is just mapping out the basic shapes. So, and we've got some really nice basic shapes with this one, so that's what we're going to do. Starting with our orange pumpkins, we're going to go for a medium orange. So this is a little bit more vibrant than the actual pumpkin. They have kind of washed it out a wee bit. So we're going to start with, it's a really round shape. Really round shape actually. Almost like a ball. Yeah, more like that. It's kind of slightly flat at the bottom there. So flat there. So I am using the Himi 48-way gouache set, and these are the water-based ones, and they're really great for this sort of work, just easy sketching. The thing is with these is you have to remember they are water-based, so they do reactivate with water. So when I'm working with layers, I try to put paint down for the next layer in a single movement and not go back over it. If I go back over it, it will lift, which we don't want, because that will just cause us all sorts of fun and games. Right, so the next one, which is this weird shaped one, which is is like a pyramid shaped golden colour, which is really beautiful, but at the same time really problematic as a pumpkin. So it does end up lower down, the top of that's lower down, so it kind of curves in. This one's got really strong curves. Curve. That one's got a bit more of a point. It comes that way. We're not going to do these off the page like the other ones, the other two at the moment, just because I like the format of this. I want it to stay relatively on the page and central. So that's the outline shape of that one. Lost my colour, forgotten which colour I'm doing. This is going to look so weird because of the shape of this pumpkin. Right, let's get the next one down. So the other pumpkin is a pale cream colour. So we're just gonna work some of that up. The interesting thing about the Himis are that when you let them dry, they do crack, but it's not a problem. You know, do not worry if your Himis just start looking like the Earth's crust. It's not going to matter at all. They will still reactivate really easily. So this just clips behind that one. Just make sure I've got that shape there. This one's quite kind of tall and thin. That. That's a bit more better. Round that out a bit more. And it really does come around like that behind the weird pyramid shaped one. So what I like to do with this process is basically just block in the basic shapes, and then I can put light and shadow in, and then if I fancy it, any details. I usually try not to put too many details in these though. These are after all sketches. They're not really here for an intricate painting session. I leave that for the painting boards. And usually what happens, what I've been doing with these sketches is that I take these sketches and then I reproduce them as a 10 by 10 inch square in pastel on my main easel, and that usually produces a really nice kind of soft, warm painting. I'm going to use the gold to paint in where the candle is, because actually it's a kind of browny gold amber colour. And because of that, I want to get the gold down first, and then I can layer the browns and amber colours over the top. need to come further over slightly to there. I don't like that. What do I want to do with it? Let's bring it down slightly and out past this one. Sometimes composition doesn't really work. I like what it's got in the photo, but I do not quite like the placement of this jar candle. It doesn't really work where it is. Bringing that edge in and then down. Right, that's a bit better. That's a better placement for that candle. I don't think I've got quite the sides matched up. I am sight impaired, so I'm registered, legally registered, partially sighted, and that can lead to some really interesting challenges when doing art. Mostly wonky lines. Double lines, definitely not getting things in the right place at all. Right, that's the rim, and then it comes down, and then we've got the candle, white part of the candle in there. So that's where we'll sit with that. Remember, paintbrush in the water, not in my tea. And the background, we've got this really interesting, I'm assuming it's a dark wood table, so we'll get this dark wood in. I'm gonna add a bit more water to this block because this is going to be quite a bit of paint. Come here. And it goes in a funny direction, so it goes that way. And no, I'm not getting this absolutely exact. I think I need to bring that way a bit. That's a bit better. We're going to take that off the page at the top, but we'll bring it back in across here. That'll create a nice frame shape for this, and then we can add the lighter colour. It's almost like a pale grey floor that they've got that you can see. So we're just going to wash this out. I'm keeping the gouache washes fairly translucent because it allows for building more on later without having to worry about lifting it too much. If you guys have got any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Otherwise, feel free to introduce yourselves. I always like to say hello. Otherwise, just lurk in silence. I do that on other channels. There's no shame in that. Painting around this clip, I'm going to end up with a gap. But I think once I've got enough paint on here with the water, the page will settle enough for me to take the clip off. And then I can go over it. And that way I won't have a tiny little corner that doesn't make sense. Backgrounds. They're like the boring bit. Important, but still boring. Now if I could train my cat to do this bit, so that I could drink my tea without it going cold, that would be nice. get the impression that's never going to happen. I will say my youngest cat interrupted the stream twice yesterday. She just keeps wanting to get the attention. And of course she hears me speaking, so she thinks I'm talking to somebody else and not her. And therefore she gets very upset about it. So I have to respond. Otherwise she gets more and more agitated until she jumps up on the table. She has a very bad habit of eating the tops of my paintbrushes and pencils at the moment, so she's 6.5 going on 1 for a cat. Absolute menace. I've done pretty much mostly pumpkins for these autumn sketches. I do wonder if I should maybe do some other fruit, you know, like apples. The problem is that apples are no longer really associated with autumn. I mean, here in my village we do, and that's because we have a big apple day. We've got a community orchard, and we all go down there. They collect up the windfalls, and then we press it and we make fresh apple juice, and we bring bottles and stuff down to dispense it and take it home. And then the apple pulp gets bagged up, and you can take it with you, put it in your allotment, compost, or make dog treats or whatever with them. And it's always a big thing because it happens every autumn. We know when autumn is because we know when the Highland Games are, and we know when the big apple weekend is, so that helps. But at the same time, because apples are readily available throughout the year now, they're not really associated as an autumn fruit, which I think is a shame. Pumpkins definitely are. Although there's a question around, are they associated with autumn or are they just associated with Halloween now? What do you guys think? Are pumpkins more autumn or more Halloween? And of course, Halloween is a big thing in this country. I think it's just as big in the US. Probably just as fun and full of just as many sticky sweet treats that are undoubtedly very bad for you. There's a little bit in the middle. It's going to be darker. It's between them anyway. There we go. Right, so that's the table put in. Then we've got a light grey background, so we'll get some of that in. I want it a nice light grey because I want it different shade completely, that we can see the difference between it and this pumpkin. I mean, it'll be better once I've got the other colours on the pumpkins and some shading. But my worry was this lighter background against a light pumpkin is kind of like, is that going to work? It will. Trust the process. So for anyone joining me this afternoon, my name is Ginger. I am an artist based in Scotland, and I work mainly in soft pastel and charcoal, creating landscapes and floral still lifes most of the time. I don't usually do this many fruit. Maybe I should do more, although I think I'll do plenty by the time I finish this lot. Right, let's do this section up here. There we go. Right, I want to map out where the stalks are. The first stalk, in fact all three of the stalks are really a really dark green, so I'm going to use my dark blue green for that, and maybe add a little bit of brown into it. Let's see, it's an interesting shape on this one because the pumpkin itself is almost like a pyramid, so it's kind of round. Quite thick as well, actually. It's quite a chunky stalk on some of these. I've painted some pumpkins in this series. They've got really thin stalks, but most of the pumpkins I've ever seen have all got quite thick stalks. And it's, I suppose they have to, don't they? Because they're supporting such a heavy weight. I think people just don't get how heavy these things are. Is that wide enough? The question. I think so. So there's one. This one fairly near the top up here. Quite a small little stubby stalk on this one. We've got another long one on this one, but it starts really low down, so it actually starts kind of here and then goes up from there to about here. Yeah, it was supposed to be a bit more rounded than that. Make it a little bit more round, shall we? Like that. Right, now that looks totally absurd. Always like an absurd looking pumpkin. So at the moment we've got our basic shapes down, kind of washed out, and that will then allow us to build all of our colours and layers over the top. And one of the ones we're going to do next is going to work on the pyramid shaped one, because it's such an interesting shape. Or do I want to work on... No, actually we'll work on the orange pumpkin first, just because really. Do I need a reason? Probably not. Actually probably do. So I've got a kind of mauve here, which I'm mixing with brown. It should give me a nice, suitably darkish colour. I'm going to add a little bit of water from the pot. That'll just allow me to wash that out. And then we're just going to come in and mark out where this shadow is. down there, and then there's a shadow of this caused by this, which is actually coming up here. So we'll put that in there. And then there is a shadow for the stalk, which kind of comes out like that. It's a bit more flat. And then we need to continue this shadow. It continues coming up a little bit more before it continues round the edge, and then it does come down but back up again right across the edge here. It does look more like an orange, right? Or at least that's what I'm thinking. It's supposed to be a pumpkin, but it does look more like an orange. So I'm just marking out where little shadow marks are. There's little bits here and there. Now obviously pumpkins have these really glorious segment lines all over them, and this one is no exception, except the segment lines are, well, they're quite thin, they're not quite as obvious. And they're also white. So I'm marking them in where the shadow line is. So there's this very, very slight line for each one. And that's because the line for each segment is indented ever so slightly. On the other two, it's definitely most indented quite a lot, but on this one it's not quite so much. And the result of that is that it's got very flat lines on it. It's a very strange looking pumpkin, almost more like a basketball. Like that. We say like that. Let's have a bit of my tea before it goes cold. Remember, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I always love to say hello. And if you're new here, feel free to check out any of my other videos on my channel. I don't think I'm straight. I've kind of slowly gone wonky. That's a bit better. It's a bit straighter. I'm always on a wonk. I don't know why. No, I do know why. Because I'm sight impaired, and for some odd reason my eye balance of sight in my eyes is very much skewed by the fact my right eye is pretty much very, very, very limited sight, and therefore the left eye is doing all the work, but I tend to find that I end up slightly skewed off centre because of it, which my husband finds hilarious. I'm not quite sure I find it quite as funny as he does, but it's still good. We're going to use a warm grey, I think, for the shadows on this pyramid style pumpkin. I'm going to keep it fairly washed out so that the colour underneath shows through slightly. That's the nice thing about these types of paints, is you can pretty much use them like watercolour. So we've got quite a big deep line here. And yes, this looks like a lighter colour. It's not. It comes to the corner there. And yeah, that comes in a triangle there. And then it comes up. There is a darker line in the middle, so I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. And this comes all the way way down to join it. And then there is like a faint, there's another kind of indent line running down the middle of that one before we go into the next shadow going up here. And that kind of cuts in there. And again, another line, a little bit fainter this one, kind of comes down to the middle of that. And then again, this one's slightly wider. See what I mean? It's a very strange shaped pumpkin. It's like a pyramid shape. Pick up some of this paint. And look at where we're going with this one. So we then got a little triangle here. And that triangle also leads into the line that comes up, all the way up to the top. And then it forms another weird shape going that way. And it joins the line going up there, like that. And the shadow on this side, which is quite big actually, quite a big shadow. More like that. See, now as I start pulling the grey back off, it gives me a grey tint of the colour below, which is really nice. That kind of sits like that. I need to kind of bring that around a bit more, I think. Like that. Line which comes up, and then the shadow line for the one next to it. And you just, what do you mean just, see the line, centre line coming up that way, and it kind of does that the same for the rest of them now. There's a lot of lines in this one, which is a little bit unusual. Right, where are we going with this? I need to go around the other side, so I need to go up the other way. Go back that way. Some of this is blocked by a candle that we can't see, but I'm fairly certain I know what we're looking at here, because we'll have this same issue that we've got going on here, and then this is the shadow for the next, the kind of valley for the next one. Another line, a lot of lines, and then it gets a bit easier. There's a bit of a gap here, so there's a line there and then another one there, like so. Okay, now we have that pumpkin lined up. Now we need to do this one. Now it is picking up a bit of orange reflection off of this, but I've got to be really careful about doing that because you start to get problems with continuity when you do things like that. So what sort of colour are we looking for? Thinking actually the mauve probably going to be my best bet actually here, with a little bit of the grey. Not sure about that actually. Let's add a little bit of water to it. I feel like it's missing something. What's it missing? It's better if somewhat more orange than I want. Realistically, it needs to be more grey. So let's see what we've got here. So we've got a big shape here. And because of that, we've got a really big shadow here. And I don't want to touch the yellow pumpkin just yet with that. And then it has a shadow line going up to there. And then from the side of that comes down, and that kind of comes up there, and that shadow cuts across there. And then this one here, and it gets wider as it goes down. This one actually comes there and down along there. This one we're just going to build up here around you, and then this comes right the way down. This is pretty much most of this side's in shadow. It's just about working out where and how. So that goes that way before curving round and coming down like that, and all of that's in shadow. We've got some light up here, but we've also got that there, and a little bit more grey because this gets a little darker up here. A bit of water. Yeah, that goes there, and that cuts round to here. And cuts in down to there. That's that one. So there's actually two here, two little ones. Segment there, and then that's got shadow there for that segment there, which then has a line that comes down there. If that makes any sense at all, I don't know. Some of these things are such a weird shape. It'd be nice if they were simple, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Right. You go almost directly off into that direction. Right, you then create a shadow there, and then come back this way. And you have got a shadow going that way. Like that. Okay. Got some shadow shading. It's just some general shading put in so that you can kind of see where different things are. Now I want to get a warm red brown onto this candle. Yeah, that's a nice colour, isn't it? Make that a little bit redder because I want it more, I don't want it too close to the wooden board colour. That's a bit better. Let's just straighten up that edge because it's gone all wonky. And we've got a rim there. And then we've got just the edge of the upper rim there, and along there, and then it's generally dark in here. So that's the candle jar looking a bit better. It hasn't got any shadows or anything at the moment, but we will be putting that in. Right. What do I want to do? I think what I want to do is I want to get the I want to get this board a bit darker because at the moment it's looking a little, well, it's looking a little pasty, and I want to be able to bring that contrast out. It'll be easier for me to bring out the lighter colours in the pumpkins once we've got that contrast. But I need this section to dry a bit, having just thrown my tea all over it. And yes, you can throw your tea onto your painting and paint with tea, but that wasn't intentional. So I'm just using my brush to mop a lot of that off. Fun fact about these sorts of paints is it doesn't matter. So while we're waiting on that, we will work on this. We're just going to start adding some lighter colours in. They are a little more washed out, so I'm just adding a little bit of cream to it, and then just putting it down. So we know that is where shadow is, and this is quite translucent. I've kept it fairly translucent in order to work with it.
just adding a little bit of the cream. It just lightens it ever so slightly for what we want. Slightly more cream as we come round to where the light is. Bear in mind the light's on this side. According to the reference photo, the lighter section is actually here between these two, which is fine. It kind of pales out that way. We haven't actually done the stripes on this one yet, so we've got plenty of time for lots of fun. I didn't realise that actually really did cut that, didn't it? And bring that right down. Down to there. That looks a bit better, a little bit more interesting. We can do some of the green on this one, or the white. Should we do the white first, I think? It's not completely white though, so I'm just adding a little of the cream to the white to get a bit whiter. A bit whiter, I said, but okay. Just pulling out the light sections, so where the light is creating the most contrast. This is the lightest colour. Same on this one. As it brings that colour down. And then it starts kind of, this bit ends up in the shade, and this is where it ends up the lightest on this side here. Right, and we're going to continue with that. We've got this double bump at the back. We need to put this on. And then part of that main strip is in the light. That goes all the way down. And so does the other section next to it. And then, yeah, this will be just light hitting the top and coming down. And the same here. Because remember, the light's on this side. A bit better.
Now the same with this one, except that it's a slightly different colour because it's more kind of almost golden tan colour, which I've got but is over here. Come on. It's not an easy colour to work with. I tend to find a lot of these are how do we want to put it? Very translucent. It's more grey than what I was looking for. Yeah. Let's see what we can do about that. Come here. I'm just going to clean the pan up a wee bit. See if we can get a better colour. This will be a better colour. It is. Still not quite as bright as I would like it, but it's definitely better. Just trying to work out where my lines are. This side is still wet, so I'll be very careful with it. Where am I going with this? The problem with this is you're kind of sitting there looking at it going, but most of this colour's on this side where the light is. Same on this one. You start to see a lot of shapes now in these, now that you're starting to get all the different kind of textures and shapes in. This one's got this shape at the top here, and same with that one. Just realised I don't have a shadow for that, but I think it's because it's blended so well in with the rest of it. That's probably why. Next to the line and round. Trying to keep the round shape as well. Just make sure we don't lose that. It's quite important. Right, I need that lot to dry before I do the next part. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to put another layer of the dark brown on this border. Can I take this off now? I can. There we go. Some more of my tea. This time I'm not going to throw it on the painting.
do some more of this brown. I don't want my sleeve up because I keep getting it into everything. I'll start at the top here. See, this is more of what I want, is this really nice dark brown, because it will bring out the warmth of all of the other colours that we've got here. There we go. Doesn't that look better with a dark brown? Yeah, like that. The dark brown's definitely a lot better. That's why I always do a wash of the colour first, just to make sure that I'm going in the right direction with what I want before I put a second coat on over the top. In order to make sure I've got that really nice block of colour. What do you guys think? Do we like the darker brown? I think it definitely looks a lot better. Where I've missed a section at the top that I need to go back and do. Let's see. Let's get some paint up here. See if we can straighten out that line a little bit. Sort of is the answer. I love a nice rich brown. It's definitely a warm, this is a warm tone brown, so it's a brown with reds, yellows in it, and that just makes it perfect for what we're doing here. How's it looking? This section is still a little bit damp from having tea on it, which is a bit of a problem because it won't take this colour very well without it being really super thick, which is annoying. Oh, I've just noticed that the jar's got a bow in it. It's kind of bellying out, which is not right.
that better? Well, that's a bit better. Sort of. Right, that is a lot better with the darker brown. I also want to redo the grey, so it is grey, because it will make it a lot better with that pumpkin. So at the moment it looks very white against that, but when you see it against this, that tends to make a huge difference. This is also a warm grey. Pale, but a warm grey. Try it. If I'm going for a very cozy feel, I try not to use any blue tones at all. What I mean by that is I don't want any cool tones in the paint colours at all. So things generally have a tendency to have some blue in them if they're a cooler tone. There we go. Right, let's sort this candle out. So what I want to do is use a wet brush and just lift some of the gouache away to the colour below. I don't want it too wet though. So you see that there? Straight away you can see that colour underneath. So it goes in a line and it goes down. As I lift it away, I just dab it off on the paintbrush. Onto my pot, and that just lifts the water off. And then it's got another line here. That's really pretty. I like that actually. It's a really good effect for this type of paint. And now what I want to do is, I've got another ring here next to where this yellow bit is. Kind of blending them together, we get a better colour. And the same up here. We just do that, and it just not only softens the edge, but it also changes the colour. Because it blends that brown into that yellow slightly. That, and then we've got quite a creamy colour for the candle. So there's our kind of
white cream for the inner part of the candle. It's not lit, this candle.
So my apologies for anyone who wanted to see a lit candle.
It's not lit. We've also got some whiter sections here. This is where there's light reflecting off the side of the pumpkin, because they are slightly shiny. Not by much, but it seems to be just enough that the light's catching them. I will add a little water to these and just blend that out. There's also a little white section here, and then there's little lines coming up the stalk like that, and they're really pale. Like that. Like that, with a Somerset-ian accent.
Okay. That's a bit better. You can see where the light's reflecting on that now.
And we're going to do the same for this orange. We still haven't put those lines in yet. I will remember eventually.
Same goes for here. And that's the lighter sections of the pumpkins. I need to put these lines in for this one, and need a tiny amount of orange mixed into some cream for these. Oh, that's a brilliant colour, right? That's a good colour for that. Let's go with that.
To keep it in line with these shadow lines that run down the middle of them.
Like that. No, it really does look weird, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, kind of looks right and kind of doesn't. I'm fairly happy with it though. That's the stalk there. Now we still need to do the green on the other pumpkin. It is more of a yellow green, so I'm going to turn this round so I can access the moss. My moss green here, which has got a bit more, which has got more yellow in it than my blue greens. I'm just going to add a fair bit of water to that. That's good, right. What I want, let's go for it.
First of all, we're going to put our greens on here. This one has a tiny amount of green in,
but is mostly
the green and the brown, but more brown than there is green in it. And then this, oh, music stopped for some reason, came back. And then this comes down. Like that.
bit of a funny shaped pumpkin, this one.
Remember, there's some spots here and there. And that comes down. And then there's quite a lot of spots in this bit. A green patch. Get some more green. That's a really dark line there. It's got a line there. And we've got a couple of dots along here. Dark green line here,
and then we've got patches of green on this.
It kind of disappears down and then kind of reappears again. The same with this one. It's because we're only just about seeing bits of it, so we don't see as much as we'd like. A weird funny shaped line on that one,
like that.
And then this one as well, we can see little bits of it here, and then as it comes down we can see a lot more of it as it widens out. Here, and then some more on this side.
And where are we going with this one? So this one
cuts across here. This is quite a wide one, so comes down and then it curves around on both the back sides, and then we've just got a couple of spots kind of like that.
Yeah, that's better. Right, and the candle does have a wick in it.
It's a bit red though. I'm just going to do this. It's got one of those weird cardboard wicks. It's kind of squarish. I actually prefer these wicks. I think they work so much better than a standard rope wick.
And I think part of that is to do with the fact that if you get your wick width wrong, it doesn't burn right, and it can either cause tunneling or just completely consistently put itself out because it's flooding itself with wax.
I didn't know there was a science to it, but accordingly there is.
Now I want to add some really dark shadowing in, so I'm just making up a little bit of black with a fair amount of water.
Mostly because I want to just add a bit of shadowing to the jar here. Didn't put enough black in it, so quick rethink there. Need a bit more, I think. Oh, that was probably too much. Never mind. It was supposed to be a darker ring where the shadow is, but no, it's not quite what we achieved. And there is a darker ring here.
Like that. That's a bit better. Now I do want to add some black mixed with, where's my blue? There it is. This is an interesting mix, but it should work. I just want to darken the area between the pumpkins and give ourselves that shadow. The blue will stop the black looking a little too vicious, as will the water, thankfully. Shadow here, which is where our orange melon is, and it's going to be quite shadowy in there as well. And again here where this one is, you won't really see very much of it because of this candle, so we can put that in there, which will help. And then the shadow of the candle. It's interesting because they're not really all going in the kind of direction I would expect. Okay. Should dry lighter, so it won't be too much of an issue. Now I'm going to add a bit of water and allow this to just colour some of this a bit. And it's just like a glazing wash
in what you would do with watercolour, because it just brings that shadow up a bit and makes it a little darker. And the same there, and then the same on this side as well. It's just about adding those layers that are transparent enough that you can see the colour underneath, but get a little bit more tone shadow on that. Now there is a tiny, I need to put that shadow in for this stalk. Definitely better doing that there, and you kind of go off in that direction as well. Like that. I want to make the back side of that a bit darker as well, so we're going to just do some dark brown in there, or very dark brown in there. That was unintentional. Let's take some of that out, or at least move it around. Like that. And the same on this one as well, actually. There we go. I think I'm going to stop there, because otherwise I'm just going to forever play with it and just keep fiddling. But I like how that's come out. You've got the 3 pumpkins and the candle. The candle's not lit, but it still looks pretty good. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed another one of our pumpkin sketches. So that makes 6 in total in the book. Oh no, those are tomatoes, those are pumpkins. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave that to fully dry before I put my sketchbook away, and join me from about, hopefully I'll be home by about 2:30, 2 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, British time, UK time, whatever you want to refer to it as, and I will see you then. Otherwise, you can watch this on the playback at any point, and I will see you at that point, whatever time or day that is for you. So bye bye for now, and see you all soon.